And after a little bit of struggling, we got her installed. There's access up there. It doesn't look like it, but there is access enough up there to take the screws in and out so that I can fill it with fluid. That is the only pot. There's no external reservoir on this thing, so hopefully it works good. I did get it attached to this piece down here, and it seems like it's going to work. Only time will tell for sure, but I feel good about it. I did manage to get the brake line attached, and I got attached here. Now all I'm waiting for is for the bleeder screw to come in so I can try and bleed it. But yeah, everything works. The one bolt I got in, and then I've just got two zip ties running through here. You know, I mean, I wouldn't think that would be a good idea, but when I push the pedal down, this thing doesn't budge. So I feel pretty good about it. Hopefully she bleeds out and works well. And that'll be one less thing to do on this bike. I'm slowly getting there. And now I'm just waiting on more parts again, but it is what it is. Isn't that right, Luna? Also, I almost forgot, this plug came in, and all it is just an actual plug to plug into the starter relay, so I don't have to have this ghetto wiring stuff going on. I mean, this will probably work, but I would just feel better having an actual plug. And if I ever have to troubleshoot problems, that'll be a lot easier than doing all that. So I'm going to crimp that in real quick and then call it a night for this thing. Alright, got the starter relay plug installed, all nice and wrapped up with electrical tape, nice and insulated. Ran a cable tie because the clip doesn't get quite as tight as I'd like, so put a cable tie on it just to make sure that it stays. And yeah, it's in there. I tested it, it works, so I feel much better about that than the way the wires were. So one more thing off the list on this thing. Okay, so a couple updates here. Raymond and Dakota came over yesterday and helped me get the front brakes bled out, and that's actually why we have the front wheel off the ground, because we were testing by spinning it and then hitting the brake, and it stops the bike, so you know, it stops the wheel from spinning, so that's good. It feels solid. I trust the front brakes at this point, so that's good. And then for the rears, I did finally get the bleed screw in, and the helicoil and stuff actually held and worked as far as I could tell, so that's great. Only problem is rear master. I had it rigged up and I showed you how, but we were pumping it, and then the screw was working and air was bleeding out and everything was great, and then all of a sudden the rod that went from the master to connect down here, the rod like bent at like 45 degrees, so that sucks, but I'm gonna fix it and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so I should have videoed before I did this, but I already unbent it. But basically right here where my finger is, the rod like bent like that, partially because the threaded part was too far down here, which was because I made the thing too short. So now I've got this other one out here and I'm using it for reference. And last time I made it about as long as this one, but I guess because I'm mounting it in a different spot, it needs to be a little bit longer. So that's what I'm gonna do. And I don't want to mess with this thing bending again. So what I've got is like, this is an old piece of metal tubing left over from the project, and this is an old leftover, it's like actual water pipe, but it's metal. And what I've got is this washer tacked on here, and I'm gonna throw down beads and weld it all the way. But yeah, basically we're just gonna do this right here, and then weld this screw on the end here, and of course this thread pattern matches that there. And then when we're done, this thing will be just a bit longer than the old one was, and it should be nice and structural, shouldn't bend at all. So I feel good about that. I'm just gonna get it all welded together, and then we'll see what we're working with. So that's what I'm doing. Okay, so I got this washer welded on there all the way and ground down. Pretty happy with it. Penetration looks pretty good. My motto for welding is if it holds, it's gold, and that'll hold, so I'm happy with it. And I finally got kind of a good setup going here. I need to have like a welding table or something, but in the meantime this works. Got a bench grinder for Christmas and got a chop saw for my birthday, so it makes doing this stuff a lot easier. Anyways, so now that that's on there good, I'm going to put that on there like that and weld right here to the washer, and then weld right here together so that it stays. And then we'll weld the nut on the end here, and then we'll go and test fit it and see how it looks. Alright, so I got this thing all welded up. It looks good. Don't worry, I'll clean it up, throw a coat of paint on it, but you know, it'll hold. Then for the nut, I want to be able to use the head of the nut to get a wrench on and twist the thing. So I just basically spot welded and ground down a washer. And then, like I'm saying, it's just gonna go on the end like that, get welded on there, and that'll be it. You know, like I said, I'll grind it down, clean it up, throw a coat of paint on it so it doesn't rust on me. It should be good to go. Hopefully this thing works. Alright, so here we got it mocked up. These holes here are lined up, so that's where a bolt's going to be. This thing reaches really well. I'm really happy with that because I can thread it in and adjust it as needed. And that should be easy to reach with the wrench as well, so I'm liking that. Now, the zip ties did not hold here, so I'm going to need to rig a way to bolt this here. So I think I'm just going to Dremel this part right here away so I can get a bolt in there. And then I'll probably just like weld a washer to it or something just so it'll hold itself together basically. So I'm going to start dremeling away and see what we can make happen here. Alright, so it's kind of hard to see it, but here's the thing installed. So we got it bolted in place to the hole that I drilled here, and then I had to make this little metal bracket here and bolt it on, but basically this end of it is threaded here. So I've got a bolt coming from the back side, and basically the thing is just being held in by 2 bolts now instead of 1 bolt and zip ties. So it's super duper strong. I had tons of thread play on each side, not play but with room to thread it on each side for adjustment, and the pedal feels good and the thing doesn't move at all while you pump it. So now it's ready to be filled and bled. And so I went to bleed the rear caliper and it sticks. It breaks, and then the brake just stays on when you let off the pedal, so that's no good. Which thing's dirty and corroded. Went ahead and popped the pistons out and took these seals out. They're pretty grody, but it looks like it was missing a couple of seals if I'm not mistaken, so that's cool. And the thing's dirty as heck, so I'm gonna get it all cleaned up, and I've already got a caliper rebuild kit, so I'm gonna get it all cleaned up, get the pistons cleaned up, pop her back on, fill it with fluid, and see what she does. So my rebuild attempt on this rear caliper was unsuccessful. Whenever I hit the brake, it still pees out brake juice. So I'm just gonna order a whole new caliper. Really not that worried about it. I would drive the bike with no rear brakes, but I would prefer to have them. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna move on to other things. Spent enough effort trying to make this one work. I'm just gonna get a new caliper and bolt it on there and should be good to go. I did finish the seat bracket mount. Well, I need to clean up some welds, things like that, wire brush it down and stuff, but the seat is mounted in place and it feels good. So that's good. And yeah, so we're still going to need to fix rear brakes eventually. And the tube for the carburetor is supposed to be here tomorrow. So in the meantime, I went ahead and put them together so I could figure out where everything goes. And I pretty much got all together except for the one tube I'm missing, which connects to that. And then it connects to 2 other carburetors right there and right there. So as soon as I get that in, we can bench sink these puppies and then throw them on the bike. So I'm pretty excited. Okay, here's the carbs fully assembled. You guys remember that tube that I was waiting for? Yeah, it never came in. So I've just improvised with some vacuum tubing and some other tubing and a T and a clamp. And got this thing, and I mean, it's just for air, you know, just for vacuum, so I think that should be fine. Seems sturdy. So this thing is now completely assembled with literally everything. I got the chokes all sorted out, and let me tell you, that was not that easy. And then we got bench synced for all 4 carburetors. So these things are ready to go on the bike, and I went ahead and soaked these boots in the same stuff that I soaked the rest of the carbs in, so they're a little bit malleable. So I'm gonna try and get this thing on the bike while that's still the case. So wish me luck. All right, got the carbs all the way on. That took some doing, probably 45 minutes, but I was able to get it on using the ratchet strap method. So basically you just run a ratchet strap over right here. You get these back ones on first, they're not too bad, and tighten the bolts. And then you put a ratchet strap over right here on both sides and hook it down here. And then you just ratchet it and it just pulls them into place. Really, I don't know how you could do it without that. So anyways, got that done. And then got the fuel line connected to where it's supposed to go. And then we got all the choke and throttle cables connected. And then I connected the gas tank So I'm ready to put some gas in it and see if it starts. So I'm gonna go get some gas and a fire extinguisher.